Today is Tuesday, September 9th. We're talking about President Trump's latest win at the U.S. Supreme Court, this time over immigration raids in California, and the evidence just released from Jeffrey Epstein's estate that shows his connection to several powerful people. Also, a resolution to one of the world's most high-profile family brawls. Plus, why a new Banksy mural is being removed, how SpaceX is making its biggest deal ever, and who's coming back for the next season of Saturday Night Live. Those stories and even more news coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Indiscriminate immigration raids will get to go ahead in Los Angeles, even though a judge found authorities were illegally using racial profiling. The arrests were heavily criticized earlier this summer when ICE agents were stopping and detaining people of Latino descent and asking them to prove their citizenship, even though there was no other reason to suspect they were in the country illegally. A federal judge ended up putting restrictions on those kinds of stops. But then yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court decided to lift the restrictions, at least while the case continues to work its way through the courts. That means agents will be able to stop suspects based solely on their race, language, location, or job for now. All of the more conservative-leaning justices agreed to this, and Justice Brett Kavanaugh explained, saying it just makes sense for officers to use race as a relevant factor in a place where violations are most likely. But the three more liberal justices were against it, saying the decision puts constitutional freedoms at risk. This comes just as the Trump administration starts ramping up immigration enforcement in other cities. The Homeland Security Department announced the surge in Chicago and Boston yesterday, and the federal presence is expected to build up in the weeks to come. This mission is actually separate from another intervention President Trump has been threatening, one that would crack down on common street crime. He still says that's likely for Chicago and beyond. And over the weekend, he shared an image on social media depicting himself as a military commander with helicopters, fires, and the Chicago skyline looming in the background. To be continued. House lawmakers released more documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. For example, Epstein's will and his personal address book with contacts that included politicians, royals, celebrities, and models. They also released the now infamous birthday book we told you about a couple of months ago, complete with letters of people who knew Epstein back in 2003, years before his first arrest. The release basically confirms the Wall Street Journal's reporting that said one of the letters came from President Trump. Trump sued the Journal for at least $20 billion after that report came out. Well, now people can see the evidence for themselves. The entry that looks like it's from Trump includes a signed note with the final line reading, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." A woman's body was drawn around the text. The White House still insists Trump did not draw the picture or sign it. And some Republicans in Congress pointed out that a birthday letter doesn't prove anything anyway or help any of Epstein's survivors. By the way, the book also included a message that seems to be from former President Bill Clinton, who apparently wrote about Epstein's childlike curiosity and a drive to make a difference. More documents are expected to be made public soon. President Trump will still have to pay $83.3 million for defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll. At least that's according to a federal appeals court that upheld the judgment yesterday. Remember, Carroll has accused Trump of ruining her reputation by denying her accusations of sexual abuse. And last year, a federal jury told Trump what he'd owe in damages for the defamation. Trump appealed, saying he should be immune as president. He always denied the abuse and said the damages were ridiculous. But yesterday, the appeals court called them fair and reasonable. By the way, this is all on top of the $5 million a different federal jury awarded to Carroll last year when it found Trump liable for sexually assaulting her. President Trump is appealing that ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court, and he's expected to do the same thing with this latest one. So stay tuned. The Murdoch family succession battle has finally been resolved after decades of back and forth. It's all over who will take the helm of the world's most powerful conservative media empire that includes brands like Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. It was all started by Rupert Murdoch, who's been wanting the control of his company's assets to go to his oldest son, Lachlan, who shares his conservative political leanings. Well, yesterday, Lachlan Murdoch completed the agreement to make that happen. Originally, the family trust said Rupert Murdoch's businesses would be divided equally between his 4 oldest sons and daughters after his death. The thing is, besides Lachlan, the other 3 Murdochs are considered more liberal. And the patriarch said that could be bad for business, especially if the siblings cannot come to an agreement about the direction of his company. Well, when he first tried to change the terms of the trust, his efforts failed in court. But the bid brought everyone to the negotiating table, and they agreed to form a new family trust, including just Lachlan Murdoch and his 2 younger sisters, that will include the controlling stake in the Murdoch media empire. Lachlan Murdoch's other siblings will get $1.1 billion each for all of their shares in the business. This won't actually change anything right away since Lachlan has already been running the business, but it does clear up uncertainty around the company's conservative future for decades to come. More news ahead in just a moment, but first, thanks to our sponsor. When I think of what to wear to special events, weddings, holiday parties, or even speaking at a conference, it's not just the outfit itself we should be thinking about. What I've realized is that it's what's underneath that can make just as big of a difference. Honeylove's shapewear is designed with targeted compression that gives support where you want it and flexibility where you need it. It means I can slip into a dress and feel polished, confident, and comfortable without constantly adjusting or feeling restricted. And unlike other shapewear I've tried that seriously feels like armor, Honeylove looks beautiful and feels breathable. The fabric is sturdy but flexible, and I like that they considered the design, so I never feel frumpy. I also appreciate that it's made for every body type, celebrating natural shapes instead of just squeezing them away. Treat yourself to the most comfortable shapewear on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/newsworthy. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in shapewear with Honeylove. Now back to the news. Legendary street artist Banksy came out with a new art installation in London this week. Like many of his works, this one's a commentary on a controversial political issue. It shows a protester lying on the ground while a judge in a traditional wig beats him with a gavel. And it was painted on one of London's most iconic courts. Banksy posted a photo of the mural on Instagram, which is his usual way of confirming a work is authentic. He didn't say exactly what the artwork refers to, but many activists saw it as a reference to the UK government's recent ban on the group Palestine Action. Over the weekend, almost 900 people were arrested at a London protest challenging the ban. Well, since the mural was painted on London's High Court, authorities say they need to take the building's historical significance into account. And with that, they're removing the mural. Security officials have already covered the artwork, and it's being guarded by officers and a security camera. Many big-name Hollywood actors and directors have now promised not to work with most Israeli film companies. An open letter was published yesterday with more than 1,300 signatures. They include names like Olivia Colman, Mark Ruffalo, Emma Stone, Javier Bardem, and many more. They're committing to no longer working with Israeli cinemas, broadcasters, and production companies that, in their view, are complicit in genocide. According to the letter, that includes institutions that have never endorsed the full internationally recognized rights of the Palestinian people. Of course, it comes as the war in Gaza intensifies and the humanitarian crisis is sparking global outrage. But the Israeli government says these calls for boycotts are discriminatory, especially since Israel's leaders say its military actions are defensive against the terror group Hamas that wants to see Israel destroyed. And the Israeli Producers Association says the boycott targets the wrong people. Either way, it could make a difference. The group behind the open letter said it was inspired by Filmmakers United Against Apartheid that worked to end apartheid in South Africa in the 1980s, and that group helped to shift public opinion. Last year, a similar pledge was signed by more than 7,000 authors and book workers boycotting Israeli publishers. France has found itself in another political crisis. The government of Prime Minister François Bayrou collapsed yesterday when he lost a confidence vote, and that means Bayrou has to resign. He was France's fourth prime minister in less than 2 years as the country tries to confront its debts. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron is set to name a new prime minister in the next few days. To be clear, Macron still holds most power over foreign policy and France's nuclear-armed military. But the prime minister will have to tackle the challenges within France. Macron has promised to stay in office until his term ends in 2027. SpaceX made a deal that could give it a bigger role in the cell phone market. The company says it's going to pay $17 billion for wireless spectrum from EchoStar. The plan is to use the spectrum as a foundation for Starlink's direct-to-cell business around the world, so customers will be able to connect to satellite anywhere without having to modify their smartphones. And SpaceX says it will keep working with network operators, too. For EchoStar, this will help lower debt and settle FCC concerns. This deal with EchoStar is the largest SpaceX has ever reached, even though Elon Musk founded the company more than 2 decades ago. American regulators still need to sign off. Saturday Night Live has finally set the cast for its upcoming season, and this year includes a lot of turnover. Longtime cast member Heidi Gardner is leaving, as well as Devin Walker, Michael Longfellow, and Emil Joachim. Plus, the show split up the sketch comedy trio Please Don't Destroy. One of them is leaving the show, another is joining the cast, and the third is staying on as a writer. But this week, it was confirmed other longtime cast members are staying on, including Kenan Thompson, who's marking his record-breaking 23rd season of the show. Colin Jost and Michael Che will continue to host Weekend Update for the 12th season. And other fan favorites will return, like Bowen Yang, Ego Wodum, Chloe Fineman, Marcelo Hernandez, James Austin Johnson, and so on. SNL is also adding 4 new cast members. Season 51 of Saturday Night Live debuts on October 4th. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, this episode is sponsored by Cook Unity. As my fall schedule picks up, lunch can easily become an afterthought. Then suddenly, I'm frantically looking in the fridge with just minutes to go until my next meeting, and that never ends well. But Cook Unity has made lunch something I actually look forward to and can feel good about. Working from home, I can just grab a meal from the fridge, heat it up, and in minutes, I'm eating something that tastes like it came from a restaurant. I've had the quinoa-crusted salmon, a Moroccan chickpea and feta bowl, and a Mediterranean grilled shrimp grain bowl. All delicious, fresh, nutritious, and balanced. And get this, Cook Unity's roster includes award-winning chefs, Food Network alums, James Beard winners, the list goes on. And they all handpick their ingredients and create small batch dishes. I appreciate that they're fresh, not frozen. And I get all that without the price tag of daily takeout or time spent shopping, cooking, and cleaning. Just heat, eat, and get back to my day. Fuel your day with the freshest, best-tasting meal delivery made by award-winning chefs. Go to cookunity.com/newsworthyfree or enter the code newsworthyfree before checkout for free premium meals for life. That's free premium meals for life by using the code newsworthyfree or going to cookunity.com/newsworthyfree. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. And today's trivia question is, which famous actor had a cameo cut from E.T.? Listen again next Tuesday for the answer and explanation. As for last week's trivia question, which day of the week was named after a goddess? The answer is Friday. Originally, the Romans named all the days of the week after the planets, and Friday was named after Venus, the Roman goddess of love and beauty. Well, when the Germanic people adopted the 7-day week from the Romans, they translated the day's name into their own gods, and Venus was paired with Frigg, who's the Germanic god of love and marriage. In Old English, Friday was actually called Friaday, which literally means Frigg's day. By the way, 3 days of the week are actually not named after gods or goddesses. Saturday is named after Saturn, Sunday is named after the sun, and Monday is named after the moon. Well, thank you so much for joining us to get caught up on the news today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest news to know. Until then, have a great day.